This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. Hey, everybody, it's not just me. It's Brittany Page.
Hello. Thank you for allowing me to be here.
Yeah, well, allowing. Listen, if you haven't subscribed to Brittany's channel, please go subscribe to Brittany Page on YouTube. There will be a link below.
I would appreciate that.
Go follow her on social media. She's doing a bang-up job over on her YouTube channel, and many of you probably have an idea, but it is virtually impossible to get traction, even when you're connected to people who have YouTube channels. It is real difficult to get things rolling. So if you enjoy this video and this topic and our take, and you enjoy the one that either followed or came before it, I don't know when I'm going to schedule these videos.
A little teaser.
Yeah, we're doing another one. Please subscribe. So the reason we're going to talk about this topic is twofold, or at least twofold. It is one, to explain why you're seeing so much resistance from Republicans, why you're seeing a concerted effort to recruit, to propagandize a younger generation, but also it is to maybe give you hope that people who are coming up behind us, younger people, Generation Z, I think they're called, they have their heads on straight. It has to do with polling, I believe, from Harvard University.
Yeah, Harvard Institute of Politics at the Harvard Kennedy School. And I know you're thinking, oh my God, they're going to talk about a poll. I promise that the point, like Jesse said, is that you're going to feel hopeful, because really the good news here is that young people are significantly more progressive in their political views than they were even 5 years ago. I mean, that's the broad takeaway, but we want to get into specifics. So this most recent survey from spring of 2023 surveyed just over 2,000 young Americans between the ages of 18 and 29.
Pretty broad sample.
Yeah, and I want to focus on this graph first, this graph that we're going to show here from the Washington Post. And what you can see here is, well, their progressive views becoming more progressive over the course of this poll. And Harvard has been polling young people on their views for like 20 years. And so what you see on this graph is that majorities believe that same-sex relationships are moral, that they support stricter gun laws. They want the government to provide basic necessities. Now, I really like this one. This is one of my favorite data points, that 62% believe the government should provide basic necessities. That's great news.
But you have a right to housing. You have a right to sustenance. That these things aren't fringe benefits of being a human being. They are a right, a fundamental right, a part of existence, and the younger generation gets it.
Yes. So I want to read from the Washington Post article. Demographer William Frey and his colleagues calculate that by the 2036 presidential race, Gen Z will represent 35% of eligible voters. Quote, "They're growing up in a 21st century America that's far more diverse, inclusive, and globally connected than the 1950s and 1960s America of the GOP base. They're going to shun the Republican Party as they get older." That is a bold statement.
Yeah, it's good news.
Yeah, and you can see it in the stats here. So over the last decade, Harvard has tracked a significant shift toward young Americans favoring more progressive government interventions. Among 14 typology questions that they have included in the survey for at least a decade, they found double-digit movement among 8 topic areas. And in 4 areas, they found a shift of at least 20 points.
Yeah.
One of these is basic health insurance is a right for all people. And if someone has no means of paying for it, the government should provide it. 65%.
It's huge. It's absolutely huge.
And in 2013, it was 42%. So this is a growing movement of people who see, people are getting cancer and going bankrupt. That can't be right.
Yeah.
That's not something that we can allow in our society.
Even issues like LGBTQ rights, just basic human rights, they have their heads on straight. And again, this should give you a glimpse into why there's such a pernicious and dedicated strategy by the part of the Republican Party and the conservative movement with organizations like Turning Point USA with Charlie Kirk, which is absolutely targeting with propaganda a younger generation. That's why right now PragerU Kids is an approved vendor of education materials in the state of Florida, and they're pushing to get it widespread across the United States in conservative states. It's because of these data that we're talking about right now that there is such a concerted effort, a full court press toward propagandizing and brainwashing young people.
Yeah. And this is, like I said, one of my favorite points from the poll, that among these young people, basic necessities such as food and shelter are a right that the government should provide to those who are unable to afford them. In 2023, that was 62% said that this year. And in 2013, it was 44%.
Yeah.
And then also, this is another one of my favorites. I have a lot of favorites.
Everybody's passionate about a few different things, and yours happen to be this. It's awesome.
The government should spend more to reduce poverty. Yes, yes. What do I always say? Poverty is a policy choice. And the young people are like listening to my TikToks. I don't know, but
well, I think they fully understand that a government budget is a moral document. It outlines what our priorities are. And if your priority is to give nearly $1 trillion per year to a military budget, and then have the next 10 countries combine their defense budgets be equal to or less than what ours is, that's immoral. We need a shift in priorities relative to public policy.
Yeah, especially when the Department of Defense can't pass an audit and has failed 5 audits since 2017. So they can't even tell the government how they're spending the money, but they're like, no, go ahead. We'll just keep giving you billions and billions of dollars. So the government should spend more to reduce poverty. 59% agree with that, and 35% agreed in 2013. The government should do more to curb climate change, even at the expense of economic growth.
Yes.
50% agree with that in 2023, and in 2013 it was 29.
It's an existential threat to the planet, to all of our lives. Look, this is good news for a number of different reasons. One of those, most pointedly, is the fact that if you're one who wants to fight for universal health care, Medicare for all, as soon as this older generation falls out because just through attrition, they're eventually not going to be here anymore, just through the natural course of living and dying. And you have a new generation rising up that is going to take political power and actually get some things done. Look, it might not happen in your lifetime. It might not happen in my lifetime, but it means there are good things on the horizon. And, when is good news bad?
Yeah, well, and this younger generation is seeing a lot of things that the older generation didn't. I mean, there's all these memes about how people from the older generation paid, like $15,000 for their home. And they're like, why can't anyone afford a house these days?
Just lazy. They don't want to work.
Gun violence. I mean, the younger generation being exposed to gun violence, feeling unsafe in their schools, in their communities. Sure. And there's data on this too, that nearly half, 48% of young Americans indicate that they have felt unsafe in the past month. So this is going to mobilize people to be for stricter gun laws.
Without a doubt. I'd love to see some polling on the level of disgust at the rank, sinister inaction on the part of Republicans for so long that they're going to get a little political power, these young people, and they're going to start putting things into action.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'd love to know. We would invite you to take part in this conversation. You can call and leave a voicemail, 714-576-4054. If you're a young person, we'd really love to hear from you. I don't have a super, super young audience, but who knows? You can also email daily@dollemore.com. Absolutely, we'd love to hear from you. Follow me on social media. I am at Dollemore just about everywhere.
And I am at Brittany E. Page. Also, this is going to be linked in the description below. So if you are like me and, you clicked on this video because it was interesting to you and then you heard us talk and you're like, you know what, that was not enough for me. I need to go read it.
Yeah.
It's very accessible. It's easy to read. And
there's pretty colors.
And you... I mean, I'm just saying I get stressed out when I like have to calculate a tip. And so looking at numbers can be anxiety provoking for me, but this is not. So it'll be good.
You know what is anxiety provoking for me? That is how few people support the show on Patreon and our channel members or hit the super thanks button. All of those are great ways. If you're into Patreon, go to patreon.com/idoubt. You like that?
I mean, you should be rewarded for that segue.
That's a great segue.
That's a great segue.
It is patreon.com/idoubt-it-podcast. Thank you very much if you're looking into that. We appreciate the support very much. It doesn't just support the podcast, which we both host. It also supports both of our YouTube channels. So anyway, we love you guys. We appreciate you very much, or at least I do. I won't speak for you.
I mean, I haven't decided yet. We'll see what the comments say.
We will see you next time. Until then, be genuine. Take care of one another.